the love for why you're doing it is gonna drive, and everything else will follow. You have a dream in your heart, and you know that that dream is something that you cannot live without, and it's the very air that you breathe. Pursue it. Push through it. You can do it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Paul Tully with the FYI Podcast. We are here in Hawaii. I couldn't be more excited. I mean, how great is this to be on this beautiful island? We are here with Ilikea. Okay, she is a all-around talented. She's into marketing, branding. She does photography. She does it all. So we're going to get to know her, what she does, and a little bit about Hawaii, where she's living. Welcome to the show.
Aloha. Thank you for having me.
Aloha. I'm super excited to have you here. Super cool. So what brought you to Hawaii? You're not originally from Hawaii.
I am. So I was born and raised in Hawaii. Yeah. My dad's from North Carolina. My mom's from the Philippines.
So tell me about you. So what do you do? What do you do here? And I mean, for work, I mean, I know a little bit, but tell the audience what you do and what you're a master at.
My husband Tate and I, we own a business called Indie Union. And I would say we started maybe 5-6 years ago, but it wasn't until maybe a year or two ago that we really were like, we're gonna stop, we're gonna map out what we want to do, we're gonna goal set, and we're gonna be consistent. And so for me specifically, I started off as a photographer, and then I just kind of like found my way in social media marketing. So I find all kinds of marketing really fascinating in terms of taking a client or a brand from wherever they're at. And then, you know, a lot of the times, especially in our entrepreneurial journeys, like we get stuck. And so I think my job has morphed into how do we become unstuck and consistently like pushing through. So I would say for a lot of the clients that I have, apart from the artists in our community, it's more so like I have a vast majority of people who either are just starting and they need somebody to kind of hold their hand through the process and kind of fine-tuning who they are and like who their voice is out in the world. And I mean, because social media, it's like our own little piece of the internet, right?
Yeah.
And so it's all about your brand and what you're putting out there and how you're communicating and your voice. And I think for me, it's like my approach to social media marketing or just branding in general is not losing ourselves in the process. So morphed and like partnered with photography. I think for me, I have a real passion for helping people just kind of put their authentic voice out there and not feel like they're becoming something they're not in the process of entrepreneurial stuff.
Yeah. No, I like that. How do you find your clients for the most part?
I feel like a lot of it, especially in Hawaii, is word of mouth. Okay. And so because we're such a small island, it's a lot of not just who you know, but who you like make relationships with. Tate and I were talking about this in the car and how relationships are such a foundational piece of doing business here and making sure you're in good standings with people and, you know, loving on people and making sure you're, I guess, expressing aloha in that sense too. Yeah.
I feel there's like a deep-rooted conversation we're not having about how Hawaiians or native people from the island have a perspective of tourists and people who come here and establish themselves or people with maybe different privileges or financial situations. And I feel like that's a conversation that people want to avoid because it could light a spark that gets really upsetting. Is that right?
Yeah. I feel like, well, yeah. I think for me, it's like I grew up here. I have respect for where I'm from and I have respect for the people here and all walks of life. And I think Tate kind of said it best when I looked over at him is like aloha is like a mutual respect. I think especially if you're visiting. I mean, yeah.
Is this all brands like businesses or mainly people in entertainment? Like
Actually, it's all brands.
Okay.
So Yeah, I work with different, I mean, pretty much anyone that has wanted to be like an entrepreneur or start a brand or start a business. I mean, I can work with anyone.
Nice.
So
Let's say, okay, so I'm trying for the audience perspective. So what does that entail? That's it. I'm opening a barbershop. You know, just moved here, you know, but I'm really friendly and I'm getting along with everybody. I'm opening a barbershop. Would I come to you? What would that? I come to you for like more exactly way. So kind of like strategy of how to get the word out.
So it'd be like, you want to open a barbershop. Why? Why do you want to open a barbershop? How do you want to open a barbershop? When are you planning to open a barbershop? And I think with that is like because I mean, there's rarely any really original thoughts, right?
Yeah, true.
And I mean, a lot of people, and this has happened to me just with my own journey, it's like, you get offended if someone's doing something remotely similar to you, when in reality, the beauty of it is that there's room for everybody and that we can do similar things. And it boils down to like, I have a way of communicating that is going to be super different from you. And so I feel like on the note of like a barbershop, right? We're going to try and grasp and take like the why behind the barbershop.
Yeah, I like that.
Are you going to start a barbershop now?
No.
We can start a brand. We can do it.
We should. Well, let's just talk about the FY podcast. How can you help us become more known and seen? So I would say if I came to you and hired you for FY, I'd be like, okay, our why is to reach people, to inspire people, and it kind of set a blueprint. The goal is for people to be able to go, oh, that's how you became a plumber. Okay, you kind of learned your trade doing this, and give a blueprint for mainly people in affordable living that are looking, but also for the world. So like, how would we brand that? Like, how would that move forward, like with you?
I think specifically a real strength that FYI possesses is you're not looking to become overnight successes, right? And you're not looking to have like, oh, we want 100 million followers and none of that's bad, but I think at the end of the day, it's who are you allowing into your community, right? And so the same kind of goes for us in our own business. I think when we first start out, we feel like we have to throw spaghetti at a wall and just go like, okay, what's sticking? And I think we hear it a lot, especially after the last 10 years or so. They're like, find your niche, find that specific community that you can be a part of or that you can reach out to. And so I feel like, Tate and I have a lot of conversations surrounding it, is that a lot of the times we're striving to go viral, hoping that people are going to see us and know us. But in reality, we have such a big opportunity, even though it doesn't present itself that way. We have such a big opportunity to create really deep, lasting relationships with maybe like 50 people, 100 people, So I feel like a lot of the times too with social media in general, they're like, oh no, I only have like 100 followers. I only have, it's like if 100 people were in a room and you had to talk to all of them, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah. And so I feel like it's creating community amongst like-minded people, and I feel like that's a real strength of FYI. Is one, it's the humbleness of being able to say, okay, we want to reach this specific community because we want to inspire, right? Yeah. And so to me, that's going to go farther than the one, a lot of people or a lot of businesses or brands who are like, let's just try reach the most people at once.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
We're waiting for the big break.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think coming to the reality that it's a ton of little breaks and little opportunities, and that consistency compounds.
For sure.
That is not my own quote. I'm pretty sure that's from John Maxwell, whom I love and I hope one day that I get to meet, or James Clear. One of those two. They were talking about. Yes. Hashtag John Maxwell. Hashtag James Clear. Hashtag I'm your biggest fan.
I love it.
But consistency compounds. So for us, it's like I found in our own journey, right, in creating community, in going slow, like we don't have a huge following.
Yeah.
But the people that do follow us, we know them, we love them, they know us, they love us, and I feel like that is more important to me than, because I've had like a video go viral and it actually wasn't that fun.
Really?
Yeah. It was of my dog. Oh. Out of all the things I've tried to do, try to be this overnight success.
Yeah.
That was such a great example that it doesn't matter. Like, I think I've realized in our own entrepreneurial journey and having a small business in Hawaii specifically, I've realized that I have to, like, a lot of the times I have to stop and look back and see how far we've come and say it out loud and go, okay, remember when we started here? Like, our very first event was actually in a parking lot behind a coffee shop. And I told the coffee shop, I don't have money to give you. I don't have money to, like, reserve the spot, but I can bring you customers.
Yeah.
And so I said, if you guys just stayed open, like, I'll make sure, like, you guys are the only food vendor. And then I remember we had another band that is a punk band here. Their name's Grapefruit. And they actually opened for Green Day back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah. And so they're like, we've actually never played, like, in our hometown on this side of the island. Like, they normally play, like, Chinatown or, like, Honolulu or whichever. And so they're like, we would actually really love to play, like, on, like, where we're from. And so I remember going, okay, now we have 2 bands.
Nice.
And Tate figuring out all the equipment that I don't know what we're going to do with or how it works. But I'm like, okay, we have a venue, we have 2 bands, we have, and so then we just started, like, word of mouth. And so I think that's kind of like where it all snowballed from. But our first event for Indie Union was, before we were even called Indie Union, was in 2018, the summer of 2018. We finished an event a weekend ago. And we partnered with Romer Waikiki at the Ambassador, which is our first, I think, hotel partnership. And they were like, we really want to put on an event. And you can have like 200 people or 250 people. And so we're like, okay, we're going to do it. Let's do it. And it was such a cool event, and everyone had so much fun, and we sold about 200 tickets, and It was a little bit different than what we were used to. But I realized that was one of those moments, going back to what I said earlier, that was one of those moments where you can get so hard on yourself in the moment for like, oh, I didn't do this, or oh, I didn't do that, or oh, I could do this better next time. But then realizing, if you look back to where we started, consistency compounds, right? Like being faithful in like really small things led to really big things.
Right.
So.
And it sounds like you didn't birth that idea to monetize. It sounded like you were birthing an idea for community and to
This
provide.
was actually the first event that I think we like made something from it. And I mean, as much as we're like, okay, maybe we originally were like, maybe we should have been a nonprofit, because it was more so just about helping people and supporting people.
Right.
But looking at like the last event that we did, it was such a fun thing to do and put on that, we didn't initially go into it to monetize, but then we were like, but we want to keep doing this.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's such like an awkward subject,
Yeah, I mean, I think monetization with art always is what clouds and disrupts it, but it's still necessary.
Totally.
I mean, it's the dance, right?
It
is. You
is.
do need money to keep doing it, and you do need to make a living at some point if you're doing full-time producing these events. I mean, you have to make a living. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's
I know
balance.
it's not my dad's direct quote, but my dad used to say growing up, like, if you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. And so I feel like for us, it's like, yes, now we're at a point in our business where we're like, okay, we want to keep providing these experiences and these events for people, right? And we want to keep pushing forward, and we want to keep doing these shows and cultivating these artists and creating community. And I think for us, it's like, okay, now we're in this spot where we're like, how can we make this like our life? Like, how can we support we have children. So it's like, how can we support our children through doing this and still being able to, it's really important to us that like bands get paid and artists get paid. And I think for us, it's this ebb and flow and like this, okay, I'm going to help you, you're helping us, and community. I think that's what I'm boiling it down to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's all it should ever be. And you know, you just keep figuring it out. I know there's like platforms that I got, they weren't around when I don't think, but when I first started acting, but they have like platforms now where like actors could, like send birthday messages and.
Cameo.
Cameo.
Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, sure. You know, every once in a while somebody will DM me or something. Hey, I seen this film, and some random reason they look me up on Instagram and they're like, no, I really liked what you did in that. And I'm like, that's cool. And I made $1,000 and never got a residual. Like I've got residuals on some of the projects I've done for like 3 cents. And I mean, you're like, okay, that's cool. But so like Cameo or whatever, that's cool that they're providing a way for an artist to actually continue to make money in a way. So I love that you're trying to take care of the artist and figuring out how to.
Because there is a way. There is a way to make it work.
We got to be creative. I think you're right.
And I mean, even for this last event that we did, the artists were able to like partner with us in getting a portion of like the tickets and stuff.
You know, I do want to say one thing on this topic because I just seen who was it? I posted it. It was I forget who was saying that. I didn't make it up, but I found it to be exactly true. They said that most of the time you're not going to find your success in your business plan.
Yeah.
And I think that's brilliant. You create a business plan or an idea. I'm going to go to college and get my degree. I'm going to be, you know, I don't know, a veterinarian. Well, that's a little more specific, but I'd say you get your BA in English, right? And you get out of school. Honestly, I don't know if the stats are right, but I'd probably say 7 times out of 10, you do nothing with that degree in that field, but that degree leads you to another industry where you make a lot of money.
I think it's all opportunities too, right? So I feel like to close the money section, because I'm like,
I know,
money
like
makes me
we're
uncomfortable.
experts. I'm poor. Yeah, what do I know? Don't take advice from me
we
about
also
money.
don't want to tell them that you can do what you love and not make money.
Listen, I was talking to a drama teacher here in Hawaii. I forget the name of the high school, so I won't. No, she said to the camera. This is what she said. She said, if you want, this is a drama teacher. I love her. She said, if you want to be an actor, don't. And then she said, if they look back at me and go, I can't do anything else, then go be an actor.
Yeah.
But if you will not monetize. Just go in it like that. I'm never going to make money, but I'm going to be the best craftsman in the world, and I'm going to do my craft better than anyone out there. If you have that energy, you may monetize.
Yeah.
But it's like
I like that.
For sure.
I think you can translate that to like different areas of our life, but also when it comes to like our business, we start because we want to make a difference. We see that there's a problem and we have a need that can fill it. And I think if what we're saying is like, if money is the driving force behind why you're doing something, oftentimes you'll find that it's harder to make it happen. So for us, I love our story because it wasn't necessarily the driving force behind why we started, but more so for the love of like community, for the love of the indie artists, for love of small businesses in our community. And then seeing how, I remember with a couple of the shows, we're like, okay, we have things that we have to meet, right? We have quotas that we have to fulfill. But if we don't, if we fulfill the quota and we make a little bit, great. We're gonna do even better the next time. Right. And so I feel like for us in our own business or as artists, or how you were saying like with special forces, it's the why behind what you're doing.
For sure.
So that's going to drive it. At the end of the day, yes, money, making money, all of that is super helpful. But if that's the only reason why you're doing something, you're going to be miserable in the end.
Yeah.
Kind of like going back to like, you're going to be sad.
Unless you're a finance guy. Then I'd say be a shark like that, right? If you're in finance, then
that's an art.
It should only be money that if you're out there and you're young and you want to get into finance, it's okay to want to be rich and powerful, and you can. I'm just saying, don't pick being a theater actor.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you. I think we're in it for different reasons. Yeah. And the money could come. And then, hey, half the artists that get rich, look at Keanu Reeves. He still takes a subway. It's like he does beautiful things with his money. You know, like he's...
I love Keanu.
Me too.
What a national treasure.
Yeah. He's like...
John Wick.
Yeah, he's monetized the heck out, but you would know he like shares the money, shares the wealth, and I'm like, I love him. I mean, I'm on that vibe. I don't care to be some tycoon. Like, what are you gonna do with all that money? But that's why I'm in the field. But anyway, I'm agreeing with you. I think that the whole thing, your why should just, and I think as artists, it's like, that's what's beautiful. These indie artists just want to play. They just, you know what I mean? And you guys are helping provide and a way for you all. And I think it's a teamwork. Like you said, if the artist understands what you've put out to help their career and get their brand up, you know, there's a way they're giving back. And as long as everyone, I feel, stays in that non-greed understanding as artists, we can get by.
Yeah, and there's room for everybody, and we can do it together.
I agree.
I think at the end of it, it's like the love for why you're doing it is gonna drive, and everything else will follow. I love it. And in a world that is so online, and in a world that has like, you don't know if a video is gonna go viral or whatever, it's so important to remain yourself and know that you have like a very specific story and a very specific way of communicating with people that is going to relate to either one person, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. So.
Like that. Oh, I love that. What, personally, what have been some of the obstacles you've had to overcome, like getting in the business or?
I think some of the obstacles that I've had to overcome is a lot of like internal talk, like the inner voice in my own brain. And, you know, I think when opportunities, like as you're moving through being an entrepreneur or in whatever field we're in, like as artists, the opportunities and the obstacles, they just get bigger and bigger and bigger gradually, right? And so I've realized that I think something as I was starting out is I think I struggled with a lot of like imposter syndrome, or like that I was gonna be found out, that, oh no, she's not who she puts out. And so I think knowing that, it also really helped in building our brand, is that I want it to be so true to who we are as entrepreneurs and as artists, that who you see online is who you see in person. And so, but I also realized just like there was a lot of unnecessary negative self-talk in the beginning. I can honestly say now it took a lot of practice, but realizing that I didn't need to put myself down or overly critique myself. And I think critique with solution is so helpful, but critiquing just to critique isn't helpful. But I would say like the inner voice and like maybe limiting beliefs that I had either as I picked up growing up, or I just kept reassuring in myself. I really had to audit my brain and audit what I believed, why I believed it, as I guess progressed as a business owner.
What did you find out through that process? What was it that was giving you those negative thoughts about yourself? Or?
I think it's more so like you come to a point where as an artist or as an entrepreneur, you come to a point where you're like, can I even really do this? Should I even really do this? I'm not really making money right now, you know? And so I think for me, it was just this like the talk in my brain and the inner dialogue in my brain was more like, oh no, someone better is going to come along, and then, you know, maybe this artist or this brand's going to go with them. And then, you know, and I think at some point I remember having to stop and go, no, the people that are in contact with me and the people that are in my life, like, we've been put in each other's lives for a really specific reason, whether if it's for long term or for lessons or for short term. The role that I try to be in artists' lives, or like our partnership, mine and Tate's, is I'm not going to be scared. I think I was really scared a lot of the times to just pursue something, or like, oh no, what if I fail? And I remember reading this quote that said, failing is only failing if you give up.
Yeah. And
so to know that I'm never actually going to fail unless I give up. Everything else is just like a learning experience or a stepping stone. And so for me, it's like hyping myself up and hyping other people up and going like, no, we can do this. Like, fear is just like it's not as big as we think it is. And success and growth is like on the other side of that. If we just really understood that it's not as thick of a layer as it is, if we can just break through that, then I feel like, you know, on to the next.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm a firm believer in like, I fake it till I make it. And I fake it so much.
BS and BS.
For sure. You know, I directed a feature film. I didn't even know how to make a shot list. I'm very open about all this stuff, because here's the thing. I directed a feature film with an Oscar-nominated actor. And I'm saying that not like it's a big deal. I'm saying it is a big deal. So for any young filmmaker out there, I didn't go to film school. Not one day. I don't even know how to use a camera. I didn't even know that there was a problem with that sound machine till Tate came over and fixed it. Meanwhile, I'm flying around the world interviewing people all the time.
But you're saying yes.
I'm saying yes. And I'm saying that, guess what? I just committed to an Ironman. I'm 100 pounds overweight, and I'm going to do it because I'm constantly saying yes.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be, you're only fake to something real. But who's real? So there's people who went to film. So I personally know great crafted film school graduates, friends of mine, that are amazing. They could tell you everything about a camera. They could shoot anything you want. They haven't even made a short film yet. They can't, you know what it is? Well, I can't find the money. I can't this. It's $1 million. And I don't know if there are excuses. I don't know why I was able to find the finance, why my film, you know, enough people believed in it or the message. So I'm not a podcaster. Know nothing about podcasting. I'm open to say that on camera. There's nothing to hide. Guys, I know nothing. Yes. But I not only said yes, I created it with the founder and the head of, created this with them. And I said yes, because I guess the point I'm trying to make is, yes, go fake it till you make it. Say yes, go do things. If you're like, I'm going to lose weight, keep trying till it happens. If you fail 100,000 times and you open that bag of Cheetos every day, that's what I do. I keep waking up going, I'm going to go get it. I watch a little Goggins. Yeah, Cheetos are great. I say yes no matter what, but here is what I will take pride in saying. Because I'm not acting like I'm somebody awesome. I'm just saying these things have happened for me. But what I will say, I do the work.
Yeah.
I may fail 1,000 times, but I do the work to the best of my ability. And I try to surround myself with people that know more than me. I did that with my films. I didn't know, but my DP was incredible. Shot listed with me. And I remember my ego being like, well, are you like... my imposter syndrome, you're not really a director, dude. You're not really a writer. Yeah. But I just kept going, well, you are today. You're going to direct today. And I was just myself. I'm working with the actors. And it wasn't what you said earlier, compound. It was a compounding of being an actor and actually crafting acting to where I was able to direct. So I think the message is always believe you can do it.
Yeah.
don't be delusional, right? I'm not like, oh, I'm an astronaut. Yes, I'm going to go to the moon. But what I'm saying is there's a reality. You want to open a business.
I think you feel it in your gut. You know when something's right for you. You know when something is like, I have this opportunity, or this person invited me somewhere, or this other person wants to be my friend. And you have that feeling where you're like, it's like almost at a crossroads where you're like, okay, do I want to take it? Or I really feel like I should take it.
Yeah.
Follow your gut.
Honestly, what a saying. Just do it. Like, you want to open a barber shop? Do it. I mean, there's going to be steps that have to be done. Like, you got to learn how to do a business proposal and a business plan and get investors. I did all those things.
Yeah.
So when I was making a film, people didn't come to me. I had to go get the financing.
Yeah.
I had to sit down with people I knew in my life. Some people that had money. People go, oh, well, maybe you knew a rich friend. No, I had to like go to their houses with a whole presentation and pitch. And some of them, a lot said no. But it just took a few that were like smiling, like, how much, and it was accumulation of a lot of small amounts.
Yeah.
That before you know, you have $1 million.
Compounds.
Amazingly.
I think a lot of the times too, if someone or a client comes up to me and they're like, hey, can you do this? And a lot of the times I think my approach, if I don't know how to do something, I'm going to be really honest. I'm not going to overpromise and underdeliver.
Right.
But I think for me, it's having the attitude of going, I might not know how to do this, but I'm committed to figuring it out. In fact, we can figure it out together. And I think that's been our approach for like just navigating community, navigating our business, navigating with just different artists and new areas that we might not have been able to venture into before. But realizing like, hey, if we keep the attitude of we're doing this for the love of this, everything else is going to follow. We're going to push all of our energy, because energy is currency, and pushing our energy towards what we love to do, who we're putting it on for, why we're doing it, and then knowing that everything will follow, but then also having the attitude of I'm going to say yes to different opportunities that might frighten me and might scare me. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be really honest and say, if I don't know how to do something, I am committed to figuring out how.
I love that.
We have Google.
No, yeah, exactly. No, I love that. I love that whole message. When you just said, we're figuring it out together. If I don't know it, it's like, that's what it's all about, right? It's the community, and it's working together, and it's building together. So here's what I'd like to do as we close out with all guests that come on the podcast. I ask them to look at the camera, and for anybody watching that might be interested in pursuing what you do, that might be having doubt, that might be having imposter syndrome, what advice would you give them to push forward?
For any of you guys watching that have resonated with the story and the talk that we've shared today, I just want to tell you, if I'm the only person you ever hear this from, I want you to know that you can do it, and that you've been equipped with everything that you need in this moment, and the things that are coming and the opportunities that are coming for you, you're going to continuously either pick it up, you're going to learn, you're going to evolve, you're going to grow, and not to be afraid of it, right? So I think the biggest thing, and if I could give you one huge takeaway, or maybe not even a huge takeaway, but one takeaway from this whole podcast in this episode, is that fear is such a fleeting emotion, and that you have a dream in your heart, and you know that that dream is something that you cannot live without, and it's the very air that you breathe. Pursue it, push through it. You can do it. Yeah.
Love that. I love that. I want to thank you for coming on. This was awesome. I'm really excited about your business and your venture, and want to stay in contact, and any way that I or we can support what you guys are doing, we're into it. We're down with it.
Awesome.
So
cool.
I'm going to close this out. Thank you again. Okay, everybody, this is another episode of FYI Podcast. Your host, Paul Tully. This was great. Couple things I took away from this episode is aloha. It's about love. It's about community. It's about putting love out there in the world. I think that's important. I think community is one of the most important things we could have. Without each other, we got nothing. We're stronger, right, together. And that's not just for a residence. It's not just for a state. It's not just for a country. It's for the world. We all want to live in love. We want to make a living. We want to have safe communities. Let's do it. We could do this. It's not that difficult. All right, everybody. Another episode, FYI. See you on the next one.
You should never stress about the problems you be facing. Everybody in the mud on the struggle trying to make it. Look into the mirror and you see the motivation. Then you step into the world and you find your inspiration. I'm finding inspiration, and once I get a hold of it, I'll never get complacent. Look into the mirror and you see the motivation. Then you step into the world and you find your inspiration.